Can you hear me at the back? Yes. So we're going directly into a session which is called Sister Projects, Past, Present and Glorious Future. I am not the main moderator of the discussion. That would be Lorenzo, and he will tell you what to do after I finish the presentation. But for now, there is some confusion about what sister projects are, because we called non-Wikipedia MediaWiki projects that Wikimedia Foundation supports, for example, Commons, Wikidata, sister projects. On the other hand, there are language projects as well. So this presentation, it's not about different versions in different languages of the projects, but for these projects that we have, and we all know them more or less, like Wikibooks, Wikiversity. There is a good presentation about it, which was done in 2018, and I will be using some slides out of it, and I encourage you to copy the link and go and read it, because it will give you the background about the state the projects were in 2018, and here we are 5 years later. So this slide presents a timeline of opening various Wikimedia projects, which are presented by their icons. And if you look at the icon, you can clearly see that in the beginning there was a lot of innovations, and the projects were opening every other year, sort of. And then the process stalled, and we have almost 10 years between the Wikiversity and Wikivoyage, which was adopted, and the Wikidata. And just recently, before the Wikimania, we had a new Wikifunctions project. So it was like 10 years before the two projects. And I think every Wikimedian wants new projects to be opening, to reach new audiences, to do new things. But it's hard to do. And it's hard to do because there is no process for it whatsoever. In theory, the board approves the projects, but the board can approve the project when it's fully fledged. We know that it's working, it's supported by the staff, and that's what happened with Wikifunctions. At the moment, what we have a page on Meta where people are supposed to apply with new project proposals. And these proposals are usually the format: we want to do Wikisports, which would be basically Wikipedia about sports. And that's it. What person, and nobody knows, is there a community? Are there rival projects? How stable is the community? What would be the new audiences that are not served by Wikipedia pages about the same competitions and things like that? And at the moment, we have projects that are still under discussion, and they were submitted starting in 2010. Not on the slide, but they're there. Also, the board decided to look closer into that, and we announced, you see at the title, that we wrote that we're not considering the proposals immediately because we were developing the process which will allow us to have a pipeline for the new projects. And obviously nobody reads whatever's written on the page, so we have 2 new projects proposal after we announced that we are not actively considering them. But it's even worse for the closure of the projects, because it's not a parallel page. It's mostly about various language versions of the existing projects, mostly Wikipedia, some Wiki News, and the language committee, which we have, is working on it. This is a working process, but it only concerns the language version of the existing projects. And you can see at the bottom of the page that somebody proposed to close wiki species, and it was rejected, speedily rejected, because it's out of the purview of the language committee. So we have even less process for the non-existent process of opening for closure. And what happened is that we created, the board created a sister project task force that sits under Community Affairs Committee, and we are developing the process, we'll develop the processes for both opening the new sister projects and closing new sister projects. First, we have board members, which you would see mainly the community elected trustees. Then we had a call on Meta for to the community, to people who would be interested in joining the task force. And we selected 5 people who joined us, and we had a couple of meetings already. So at the moment, the current proposal is to have a committee like language committee, but dealing specifically with the sister projects. And that's where we are at. And now Lorenzo will tell you what are we going to be doing. Thank you.
Thank you. We would like to use this time that we have here to get your input and your ideas on some topics that are important for the work of the sister project task force. So now we will divide in smaller groups in person, and also one group online that will discuss each one on a specific question that I'm going to give to you. If we have time at end, we may take a few minutes to summarize what came up from this discussion. In each table and online, there will be one trustee from the sister project task force, so that we can take notes and bring that to the work that we are doing. So for the online table, which will be led by Mike Peel, I have as a question, what does success mean for a sister projects, and how can we measure whether a project has been successful? And then I have a few ones for, yeah, these are more or less the names. I have a few ones that I will give each to one trustee, so you can get to the person that that has the topic you like. So to Victoria, what are the risks involved in having a sister project? What could go wrong with a sister project? Here. What does impact mean for a sister project, and how do we measure it? So that was these are slightly different. One is success, and the other one is impact. How we can divide limited resources, money, developer time, etc., among multiple projects, and what should be the criteria for doing so? This was for Rosie. I will take, assume that we have decided to sunset, to close an existing project. How should that be implemented, and what happens to the content? And then I will give to Shani, who is in the back of the room, when should a sister project have just one multilingual site, and when should it have multiple linguistic editions? So please, the trustees, find a place where um, you can have a talk, and everyone else join the table that you are most interested in. And we have more or less half an hour, or slightly less than half an hour for the discussion. Thank you. Hello. Sorry, we are unfortunately at a few minutes, like 2 minutes until the end of the session. So I have to stop your discussion, unfortunately. I would like if a couple of people from two groups, I cannot ask everyone because we don't have time, would like to take a minute to say something about the discussion of the group. Do you want? Yeah, please come.
We haven't resolved everything, but when we are talking about what does impact mean for a sister project, how do we measure it, what we came up with was it has to be connected to the mission. So we look at the mission, whether it brings it home at some distant future, because this is a new thing of its potential. And to be able to measure it better, we should check with the goals of the movement strategy 2030, because that's something closer to where we are in reality. And we thought that the new sister project can have like a very distinct role of preservation knowledge, like say Wikisource, where you actually want to preserve knowledge as possible for the future use, which might not be immediate use, and something where you create knowledge, like in Wikipedia, the knowledge did not exist and you kind of made it. So there are like two things, but there are also things like whether it brings new audiences, whether it brings somebody who already was involved and is served by the knowledge that we produce now, but can actually consume more. So it should be some kind of like a checklist where you can see by each proposal whether they are bringing this and this not yes. So when you are making a decision about the potential impact of a new idea, you can figure out, we are going to first invest into the one that checks a lot of boxes and then figure out the prioritization from there. So that's... Anybody else?
Can you come here, because we have online participants. Oh, there is a mic over there. Yeah. Oh, okay. As you prefer.
So we were talking about risks. What are the risks involved in having a sister project, and what could go wrong with the sister projects? So risks are, we need to do a cost-benefit analysis, because there is expectations that Wikimedia Foundation will support software modifications and basically give money. So another global risk is legal risk, because the project exposes the foundation to lawsuits, and even Wikipedia, which has protection under law and it cites sources, is sued regularly if you have something that doesn't have sources and it's basically personal opinion such as Wikinews, for example. This is open to litigation. Then it's easier to open than to close the project. So even because people get attached to it, and this like increasing costs and burdens again. So the project can be too similar to the existing one. These are again increasing the burden, splitting the community without any benefit. If the project is adopted, there is a risk of culture clash, where the community cannot integrate with other people. So then these are internal risks, not external. It's nobody's project. So there was a community and people left. There is no replacement, and vandals and bots move in. And then there is no content. Again, the bots got in, and it damages the brand of Wikimedia, other Wikimedia projects. So we also discovered that we need some to measure the activity and content. We don't know how, and that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I found the discussion at my table really interesting. I'm looking forward to read the notes from all the other tables, and this will be very useful for us in the work for the task force has to do. Thank you.